State of Georgia versus Jasmiyah Whitehead. Ms. Whitehead's date of birth is November the 27th, 1993. Today, she is 20 years of age. At the time of the incident before the court, she was 16 years of age. Current indictment number is 2011 CR 1376I. The only prior criminal history of Ms. Whitehead in 2008, summer of 2008, she admitted to being ungovernable in the juvenile court of Rockdale County. As we proceed this morning, I'm going to ask the court first to consider a null pros that I have placed up on your bench as to the current indictment, that being indictment 2011 CR 1376I, and ask that you accept that null pros. We will be proceeding this morning on an accusation charging the defendant in 3 counts with voluntary manslaughter, falsification in government matters, and possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. I would ask that that indictment or that accusation be accepted by you and filed in open court this morning. The defendant has indicated by written waiver that she is waiving grand jury indictment as to the charges in the accusation. That is, waiving indictment as to the charges of voluntary manslaughter, falsification in government matters, and possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. She has signed that waiver. Her attorneys have signed that waiver, but at the appropriate time, I would ask that you inquire into that waiver of a grand jury indictment. The defendant has also agreed, I believe, to stipulate to the same factual basis for the plea as was presented to the court in the co-defendant's case, that is in Jasmiyah Whitehead's case, in plea hearing, which was accusation number 2014 CR 1029. This court heard on January the 9th, 2014. I would ask that that factual basis for the plea be typed up and be made a part of the record in this particular case. Do you also stipulate?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Essentially, just real briefly, and I know the court remembers this very well, and her twin sister engaged in an altercation with their mother, Jasmiyah Whitehead, on January the 13th, 2010 at 2020 Appaloosa Way here in Conyers, Rockdale County, Georgia. During that altercation, the defendant's mother was stabbed by both defendants with a steak knife having a blade of 3 or more inches in length, and that said stab wounds resulted in the death. Also, the defendant, along with her sister, provided false information to the City of Conyers Police Department regarding the facts and circumstances of their mother's death, and in particular denied that they had any knowledge as to the facts and circumstances of their mother's death. The defendant, as I indicated, is entering a plea of guilty to all 3 counts of the accusation. As to count 1, voluntary manslaughter, the state's recommendation is 20 years to serve in prison. As to count 2, falsification in government matters, the state's recommendation is 5 years to serve in prison to run consecutive to count 1. As to count 3, possession of a knife in the commission of a crime, the state's recommendation is 5 years to serve to run consecutive to counts 1 and 2 for a total of 30 years to serve in prison. It is my understanding that the defendant, through counsel, will request first offender treatment. The state is opposed to first offender treatment. I will point out to the court that the victim's mother, Linda Whitehead, is present, and I would ask the court to recall the comments that she offered to the court at the prior hearing in this case.
And Mr. Thomas, let me ask you a couple of questions. The conversation you and Ms. Ward have had with your client.
Yes, sir.
Did both of y'all have y'all had a chance to go over the way with the grand jury indictment and agree to the prosecution of this case by accusation?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
Ms. Ward, y'all had a chance to talk to Ms. Whitehead?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, would y'all please stand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Whitehead, would you please stand? Would you raise your right hand the best that you can?
If you want to podium.
Wherever you're comfortable. You want to be at the podium, wherever y'all are most
What's
comfortable.
the meaning?
All right.
Podium.
The podium probably better.
Yes, sir.
Make it easy. Come on, if you can first. I'm sorry. Walk to the podium, please, man. Right there, the best you can you raise your right hand? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, help you God.
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Are you Jasmiyah Whitehead?
Yes, sir.
Can you read and write?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what's going on here today?
Yes, sir.
I'm holding in front of me a plea of guilty, acknowledged a waiver of rights on that questions 1 through 25, and has a signature on the back of Jasmiyah. Is it Jasmiyah? How about you say it?
Jasmiyah, sir.
Are you, it has a signature of Jasmiyah Whitehead. Did you sign this?
Yes, sir.
There also has check marks and the initials JW in response to each one of those questions. Did you place those check marks and or your initials?
Yes, sir.
And do those check marks and or those initials indicate your answers to the question?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a chance to read and did you understand each question before you put those check marks and initials there?
Yes, sir.
Now you know you do not have to say, sign, or do anything to show that you're guilty of the offense of voluntary manslaughter, falsification in government matters, and possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you understand completely what you're charged with, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you have a right to a jury trial on these issues?
Yes, sir.
You understand if you had that jury trial, the state of Georgia would be required to bring in witnesses to testify against you, and those witnesses would be placed under oath.
Yes, sir.
Do you further understand that you or your attorneys, Mr. Thomas and Ms. Ward, would have the right to question or cross-examine those witnesses?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that this court can make any witnesses you would like to have on the court testify for you in your defense?
Yes, sir.
You're represented by Mr. Thomas and Ms. Ward. Are you satisfied with their services?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else they could have done for you that they have not done?
Not at all.
All right. And understanding all of the rights that you've gone over with by this court, do you wish to the guilty plea to these three charges?
Yes, sir.
Is your decision to plead guilty made freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Are you now under the influence of any drugs, medicines, or alcohol?
No, sir.
Do you desire a trial by jury?
No, sir.
Has anyone made any promises or threats to cause you to enter this plea?
No, sir.
Has anybody used any force to make you do this?
No, sir.
Do you understand that you are not a citizen of the United States of America, that enter this plea would result in your deportation?
Yes, sir.
And have you been informed in writing, is this your signature regarding the time it is necessary to file a petition for habeas corpus?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I find the record Ms. Whitehead is freely and voluntarily waives her right to a jury trial, no other plea, and I've accepted that plea as freely and voluntarily given. And Mr. Thomas or Ms. Ward, I'm glad to hear from either one of y'all at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please court, Your Honor, I requested first offender for Ms. Whitehead, and I wrote that request on the indictment. I understood that the state would oppose first offender, but I think it would be appropriate in this case simply because the tender age that was involved in this particular incident, as the state indicated, she was 16 years old at the time. And I think everybody in this society is entitled to some modicum of redemption or an opportunity to be redeemed, especially in terms of our laws in the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia allows an individual to seek that redemption through the court, through what I call a legal redemption. And I ask the court to give that some strong consideration to allow her to have a first offender treatment. I also indicate to the court that this has been a very difficult and tragic case all around, with everybody involved. The court knows that my firm, we donated our services pro bono. Bar asked the lawyers to do that, and I think it was an honor for me to be able to do that and represent her through my firm throughout these proceedings. And I would ask the court to give some strong consideration and in fact grant her the request for first offender treatment. And we would ask the court to listen to the defendant in allocution to before passing on any judgment.
Yes, ma'am. Anything you want to tell me, ma'am?
I just want to say, I'm sorry for all that has happened and all the pain that it's caused my family and my sister, our friends, and most importantly, my mom. I'm sorry for everything that I've done. I take full responsibility for my actions. And I want to thank y'all for your mercy and leniency. And I say this this is not where I want to be. I wanted to contribute to where I didn't want to hurt my mom. I'm sorry for everything. That's it.
I believe. First of all, Mr. Thomas, what I'd like to thank y'all. Y'all have performed service which lawyers are supposed to do. Lawyers are supposed to help people. And it's a profession. It's not a business. We sometimes get things confused and want it to be a business where the practice of law is a profession. Just like, as you know, the folks that work in the state of Georgia, the district attorney's office are underpaid, overworked, just like y'all. But it's a profession that you choose to assist people and provide them with assistance. And I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I believe in redemption. I believe that everybody should have a second chance. No question about that. I believe Ms. Whitehead, when she says she is sorry, nobody wants to be here. As Ms. Ward was here, I know you were trying a case last time, but Ms. Ward was here when Ms. Whitehead's sister entered her plea. And I'm thinking that may have been Mr. Reed, it may have been Mr. Long. Someone talked about how this is just a tragic event, and it continues to be. And the tragedy doesn't end. But as much as it is a tragedy, I cannot give first offense. I simply cannot do this. Even though she was 16 at the time, I did not give it to her sister. And I think they need to be treated equally. I don't know who was the leader, who was the follower. I think they were probably co-conspirators, if that's the right word for this, involved. Don't know. Never will know. But I did not give her sister first time. I cannot. But I do believe in second chances. I do believe that people have a chance to change. And I believe that by entering this plea, Ms. Whitehead has begun that step. And I believe the state of Georgia recognized that by offering the plea to voluntary manslaughter as opposed to murder. We all know the tough. This is just a tragedy. Nobody wants to be here. And as I said last time, I don't think there's a person here that heart has not been broken. I know mine has, my family has. But there's no such thing as closure ever with courts. We just the courts. Closure has to come from within, and I don't have anything to do with that. Hopefully, that people can learn and will begin to heal the process by people stepping up and acknowledging their participation. And I think that's what Ms. Whitehead has done here today. I made a finding on the record that she's free and voluntary to waive her right to a jury trial, and I've accepted her plea. For the offense of voluntary manslaughter, I sentence you to 20 years. Already you served that in confinement. For count 2, for the falsification of government matters, I sentence you to 5 years. Already you served that in confinement, consecutive to count 1. Count 3, the possession of a knife during the commission of a crime, I sentence you to 5 years. And in order you serve that consecutive to count 2, which gives you 30 years to serve. I order you to receive credit for every day that you have been incarcerated. And ma'am, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. That's the word of the court. Thank y'all very much. You may thank you very much.